After doing videos on the AUs you guys have been requesting, I've noticed one terrible truth about all of them. Nobody's safe. And don't worry, I'll try to cover all of the AUs being sent to me. I just had a cold come up out of nowhere, but right now, this story takes place in the world of trolls. Before things get dark, I want you guys to keep in mind that trolls are tiny, bright, colorful creatures who basically live in a musical animated kingdom led by their queen, Poppy. There's also different tribes based on different musical genres like pop, rock, funk, and even hip hop, where they live, sing, dance, hug, and value joy in their home more than anything else. But sadly, in this universe, everything joyful has been infected. The AU starts off by giving us files loaded with some of the character stats, presenting us with Guy Diamonds first. We can see that he's negative, so he luckily has not been infected, and we're shown his levels of sanity, stress, and health, but also we can see that he's starving based off his hunger and thirst. Unfortunately, it makes sense because, as you can see, he did volunteer to be the lead babysitter of all the children in the village after the outbreak. So not only does he have his own kid to take care of now, but he also has everyone else's, including the ones who've lost their parents. Imagine if one dad had to make sure more than 50 kids were clean, fed, entertained, and put to rest. I can see why he's in distress. Poppy's kinda doing well, she's pretty healthy, but she's been starving herself as well. Mostly because not only is her boyfriend Branch missing, but she's been feeling like a failure as the queen. Obviously because of how many people are being infected. It's gotten so bad, she's even isolated herself away from everyone. She even says, "Is Branch back yet?" whenever someone comes and checks on her. If you watch any of the Trolls series, you know that this is kinda outlandish for her to do. They're all about happiness and staying close to one another. They even have a bracelet that lets them know to hug each other every single day, which lets us know how dark this AU's going to be going forward. Poppy's boyfriend, Branch, has been missing days before the outbreak, and we'll learn more about that soon. On the other hand, King Peppy, who's Poppy's father, looks very emotional and is sadly in stage 1 of the infection. One interesting thing I noticed is that he also has a new stat compared to everyone else being recorded labeled aggression, which possibly could be a trait from the infection. I'm guessing when he first found out he was infected, to make sure his daughter and everyone else was safe, he'd separated the infected from the non-infected. And if you watched the first movie, you'll know that this isn't everyone's first time being in Branch's bunker, because he built it for protection against these creatures called the Bergens that ate trolls to stay happy, way back before they were allies. But anyways, Pepe seems to be coughing blood, and with tears coming down his face, he says, "I must find Creek. All my life I've been running and hiding, and I refuse to be that man anymore." So he grabbed his lantern one late night and entered the troll forest on a mission, saying, "Branch, Creek, where are you?" After a while, Creek was finally found, but in a condition we've never seen him in before. Eyes wide, smiling in the dark, like he's been waiting for this moment. Peppy went missing that night. Meanwhile, Bergentown Medical Sciences puts out a public announcement for their citizens due to high concerns. Be advised, the broadcast you're going to watch are showing off the results of the scientists' research. Keep in mind that they are 100% confident that they have found the truth behind the infection, confirming to us that it's not a virus, but it's in fact a pathogenic fungus called Pontis fungus. Just know that this fungus changes the behavior within its victims, and its main target are small organisms because of their soft tissue, and infected will all have different symptoms depending on your size. Trolls with the fungus will experience swelling, hair loss, self-destruction, leaking fungal matter from their orifices, which basically is mold and fungi coming out of all and every hole in your body. And I'm not going into detail. The virus can be spread from spores on the skin and more easily through skin-to-skin contact. They also say something interesting, which are vacationers and other creatures are immune or if not have minor symptoms compared to trolls. But another thing is, Reagens are banned from entrance. And the Bergens broadcasted this emergency warning for the citizens.
We interrupt our current program by the demand of the Bergentown State Militia. This is an emergency announcement to alert Bergentown residents. This is not a drill. All programs have been interrupted. Please listen carefully for further instructions.
Attention Bergentown residents. At 2:53 a.m. February 4th, authorities have been alerted to a recent surge of Reagon sightings in the northern Bergentown area. These incidents pose a serious threat to public safety. We urge all residents to stay inside and exercise extreme caution at all times. Local law enforcement agencies are actively investigating these incidents and deploying additional resources to address the situation. However, we urge everyone to take proactive measures to safeguard themselves and their families through the following methods. Lock all doors and windows, turn off all room lights, gather everyone away from doors and windows. Additionally, we encourage residents to remain armed with a lethal weapon and to keep fully covered if available. You hear knocking at any door or window? Do not answer. Remain calm and stay out of sight. Has entered your home. Do not panic. Remain calm and stay out of sight. You have been cornered by a Reagon. Fight and do not let the Reagon leave open wounds. You possess a firearm and spot a Reagon at any location. Aim and fire the target on sight. Do not stop until the Reagon is no longer moving. If you witness any suspicious activity or signs of an attack, please do not hesitate to contact emergency services immediately. Your cooperation is crucial in ensuring the safety and security of our community. We advise avoiding isolated areas, traveling in groups whenever possible, and refraining from engaging with any potential infected threats. Please stay tuned to local news outlets and official channels for updates and safety advisories. Together, we can work to mitigate this threat and protect our community from harm. Stay safe. Remember, finding the cure starts with you.
The recording ends here with a Reagon knocking on their window, most likely because of their lights being on. Their fate is unknown. Before the emergency broadcast I just showed you, somebody hacked the last broadcast and put on a plethora of videos and messages. And ever since then, panic erupted amongst all nations. The clip I'm about to show you caused mass hoardings of water bottles across all markets. There's even people using this to get an extra $1 out of this situation. As people are so desperate for water, they're forced to buy from scalpers who are overpricing regular water bottles. These scalpers are even taking cruel measures by putting air in the water, like they're doing a Lay's bag scheme.
It's in the water. 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 It's in the
Branch is still alive, and he's reaching out to Poppy and the people. Now in the next part, we get more information on the status of other characters. Now Floyd is kinda doing good, but of course is starving. And he's caught my eye as a suspicious character in this AU, because weeks before the outbreak it says that he barricaded himself in his own home. It's also been said that he's constantly on the internet, checking every location he knows of. And it's said he seemingly knows more than what's documented about the outbreak. So Floyd barricaded himself, is cooking his water, and has alcohol and other cleaning products in his home? It's possible Floyd knows exactly how this started, and someone told him to do this, which is why he says, Please not the prisons. If you've seen the recent troll movie Band Together, you could see why Floyd would do something like this and betray the trolls by not telling them about the infection before it starts. Last time he was locked up, he almost lost his life, and this wouldn't be the first time a troll went out and betrayed his people to protect his own back, as this happened with Creek. When in the first film, Creek sold everybody else so that the Bergens eat them instead of him. Delta Dawn is doing horrible. She's on stage 3 of the infection, which is the highest we've seen anyone yet, and it looks like she's been gruesomely gnawing and chewing on herself because there's some substance crawling under her skin like an itch so bad that scratching with your teeth is better than your nails. She's eating herself, saying not enough space, while also saying I need a bath. Now, one thing I know about mold and fungus is that they mature in water and they love it. Then this could be the reason why she wants a bath so bad. Queen Poppy, on the other hand, is doing way worse than a week before. She's still negative of the virus, but still is barely eating and also is way more stressed than before. She also says thank you Bridget, who's a very well-known Bergen, so she has moved to Bergentown and out of the bunker, which unfortunately means something went down at the bunker. Here, what happened to Essence and Quincy is kinda devastating, as they're the leaders of Vibe City, and not only have they lost both of their sons, but they inevitably will lose all of the people in town to the infection, with them being infected as well. With them saying sorry, what did we do wrong, while accepting the fate that the infection has for them. Compared to everyone else, Vibe City followed the rules more strictly. They wore masks, and they even did no social gatherings. But where they messed up, it also says that they've been taking baths daily. And remember, it's in the water. Techno Reef has fallen. It's in the water. Symphonyville has been destroyed. The Bergens are immune to the fungus, so their kingdom is standing strong, for now. And sadly, the virus is affecting trolls no matter where they go. Which brings us to Barbara, who's the queen of Rock City. She's negative with the virus and actually, believe it or not, doesn't even know what's going on around the world. She hasn't been eating, but it's most likely because it's revealed that her town is flooded. And Poppy and nobody have told her anything, which is why she says, is she ghosting me? So not cool. And as she comes and checks on Poppy, she's walking through the bunker. And she says, yo, what happened here? Gnarly. Then something grabs her and pulls her into the dark. Whoa, what are you doing? Back off, man! Get your hands off of me! Stop! Stand back. I'm warning you, man. And within the dark, infected Biggie stands, smiling, watching her beg for mercy in his water. Now, I told you about the cities that are going to fall, have been destroyed, and have been washed away, consumed by the fungus. But similar to the Bergens, one of them still stands. The home of the Reagons, also known as teenagers within trolls. Now remember, the scientists told all nations to burn everything that's contaminated. But sadly, plastic doesn't burn, it just melts. If you haven't noticed by now, the Reagan city was burned down due to contamination problems and other possible agendas. But no, this didn't fix the problem, because plastic stays after melting and spreads, which ironically is what the citizens did after it burned. Their skin is made out of vinyl tapes. They are plastic, causing the survivors to spread amongst all nations, not fixing the believed problem at all. In the next part, we're given more lore about the fungus. The Pontis fungus is not naturally aggressive. It doesn't attack unless prompted or given a good reason, which is when someone's usually in their territory, and only take control of a host so they can be taken to a body of water. It's almost like it's using their body as a taxi to just get in some water. Now it's clear why Delta Dawn wanted a bath so bad, and it felt like somebody was trying to get out of her skin. And this is when they show us what they look like. They are harmless, dark creatures. And it's revealed that they are only hostile when something is getting in the way of it maturing. And that brings us to the Reagons. The Reagons are special creatures to the fungus. Not only do they have vinyl plastic skin, but they also have no lungs, no veins, and no heart beating. And their skin can't absorb water, but the fungus can still make its way inside of their body. The only problem is, it needs water. The fungus will get more aggressive, but also wait until it can sprout, causing the Reagons to fight back by stretching and stretch and stretch and stretch and never break until eventually the Pontis adapted. It has changed them and made them more hungry. More files are shown to us, starting out with John Dory, who's pretty healthy but just badly injured. It seems that he was trying to get away from everybody and all of the infection stuff, but is sadly forced to be stuck here. Who doesn't want to leave his brother behind, who actually took care of him after he was caught by a Reagon mob and got beaten up and barely was able to escape and survive. Now, John's brother Bruce, on the other hand, isn't infected, but misses his family a lot, and wants to leave, but doesn't want to leave his brother behind. But sadly, he isolates himself in a box all day, so they'll never both know that they both want to leave and leave. Clay is probably doing the best out of any troll. He's been babysitting, reading books, and making sure he's getting enough fun. Viva is probably my favorite character off this look alone, but is looking the coldest out of everyone. She is Poppy's sister, so I'm not surprised that she's doing well, or kinda doing well, as she doesn't really trust anybody after finding herself trapped for a second time after leaving the golf course. Clay convinced her to leave with him after he wanted to take a tour of the destroyed Mount Regis, but since they're trapped, she doesn't really trust anybody anymore, not even her own body, as she's experiencing ticking and also experiencing random faints. She feels like she lost all control of herself, and the only thing calming her down is drawing with Clay. Branch is still alive and is seemingly using a staple gun as a weapon. His health is not looking too good as it's at 35%, but he's been eating well and he's also pretty sane. But then again, he still has lost a huge chunk of one of his ears, saying, "She's gotta be out there still. I just know it." It turns out he's been in Reagon City the whole time, which they now call Melting City. He's been fighting with others, and not only has he been losing a lot of blood, but a lot of friends. And sadly, he's alone right now and defenseless because he ran out of bullets. So all it's gonna have to take is Poppy to find him. Then there's a file on our first Reagon who's named Kid Ritz. He's extremely healthy, but he's really sad because he misses his mom, who he probably lost during the meltdown of the city. All he thinks about are the fires and sirens and the monsters that all were once called his friends. And he was found hiding in the corner of a walk-in freezer, shivering. Surprisingly, Veneer shows up in this AU after confessing to the whole Mount Reagians that him and his sister were torturing trolls. They were arrested and put in prison, but to be honest, his sister was kind of the mastermind and manipulative one. But anyways, the status on whether or not he's infected is said to be unclear for the first time. We don't even know his current health or whether or not he's insane or not. And all he keeps saying is, "This is all my fault, Vels. I'm so sorry. I did this to us." So he's kind of beating himself up over confessing to a crime that him and his sister were partaking in. And the prison has been completely abandoned ever since the outbreak for at least 2 weeks now, so of course, he's not eating. And his sister won't leave him alone. Meanwhile, this kid is asking their guardian if they could go across the street and play some arcade games. And they're like, "Okay, just make sure you bring John Dory with you, and if you hear anything, run back over here right away." And then they go and argue about which Street Fighter character they want to play as. Then the AU takes us back to Veneer's dialogue, where he says, "Ves, I'm sorry. This is all my fault. I did this to you. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I'm sorry I did this. I did this to you. I'm so sorry I did this to you. I didn't mean for this to happen." And on the other side of the cell, infected, is his sister, breathing heavily and uncanny, watching him from the other side, seemingly trying to get in, even biting the bars. She stops. He says, "Are we still stars?" Meanwhile in Bergentown, Chenille tells Poppy, we need to show you something. They turn on the TV for her and it's just static and white noise. After showing her what was on the TV, they look at her and say, Poppy? Poppy's crying, most likely from what she's seeing on the TV, which was probably a message from Branch, showing Poppy where he's at and the condition he's in. That's when Satin tries to say, Poppy, and then she cuts him off saying, we gotta go after him. He's trying to warn us. We have to find him and save everyone else. And after she's done, he says, Poppy, Gristle, we're not gonna leave him behind, right? Gristle, on the other hand, who feels remorse and sad for Poppy, looks at Satan because hoping that he'll be the one to say what she knows will hurt Poppy's feelings. Poppy, we can't afford the risk. We'll look into it later though, okay? I'll check up on you later, Poppy. The door slams shut, and Satan starts yelling, I told you, we should have never said a word. That's when Gristle says, and what? Lie to my best friend? You jerk. As Poppy listens in despair, she says in her mind, I can't accept this. Picks up her coat and says, I gotta find Branch. Whether they go with me or I go alone. It's been a couple days since Poppy left Bergentown and we're given a status on their current state. She seems like she's handling herself pretty well with her scissors. And let's not forget, in the world of trolls, even without the infection, there are still a lot of dangerous creatures out there that Poppy has to protect herself from. But it's also revealed that every time she kills an infected, her heart hardens, which means that she's getting colder as a person. She's starting to lose her joy and not see the world as cupcakes and rainbows anymore. Saying, I'm not giving up on him now. He must be trapped somewhere with working cell towers. King Gristle Jr. is sad because he has to do what he has to do as a king, and sadly not everyone's gonna like it, including his own girl Bridget, but all he's basically saying is, you would understand if you were in my shoes. He has constant fights with her, so his relationship's not doing so well right now, and then also he's a king during an outbreak. So of course he's very stressed, and on top of that, the Bergens, not only do they have their citizens, but they also have all of the troll citizens moving into their town as well. Guy Diamond is back. If you remember, he was the village's babysitter, but now none of the babies are found. A lot of Bergen children are disappearing along with trolls, and he is very stressed over this and actually has been let go from being a nanny because he's just unstable. And he's frantically looking for Tiny Diamond and Keith, who are missing. Chanel is not doing too well and is very stressed. She's pretty healthy but is not eating as she sits on the other side of her sister. Separated by a glass door, her twin is infected and she won't let her go. Her sister Satin is in stage 3 right now currently and keeps saying need more space to grow because the fungus needs room to grow and mature or it'll get angry. As you can see, she's been chewing and nibbling on herself, and black substance has been coming out of her body, which is said to be her dead tissue and cells of blood. In the next part, we see Tiny Diamond, who again was separated from his father, is now running through the forest at night. It seems like he's being chased by something, and then he hits a dead end and fortunately finds Keith. And as he's going to hide with him, he hears some gurgling. And as he looks over, he sees a nasty fusion of Biggie and Barb. And sadly, Barb gets stabbed through the eye and stepped on by a monster. And as the beast growls, Tiny Diamond hides for his life while listening to it devour and consume Queen Barb and Biggie. That's when the creature leaks its way towards Tiny behind the tree and says, "Found you." And as it's about to consume the tiny little troll, bang! It gets shot in the face. And as that mysterious gun that shot that monster reloads, Tiny catches himself on the ground, and as he gets up, he hears, "Well, hey there, little guy." And as he wipes his coat, he says, "You're pretty far away from home, aren't you? Now, don't mind me, girl starving." Later that night, they were found. It says they were only gone for 36 hours. The only one they could interview was Tiny, who was too deep in distress and could only say he remembers a tall man with long hair and a printed gun. Meanwhile, more and more kids are increasingly going missing in Bergentown, and the trolls in town are getting more and more outraged by the fact that their kids are going missing and also Poppy is missing, creating graffiti like this saying, "Bring back Poppy." As more and more citizens get angry, they're starting to lose hope in Gristle and Bridget's leadership. Rumors are also going around that are angering people that Chef is back and is working in the disposal unit for the Bergens. If you didn't watch the first movie, just know that Chef is an evil Bergen who thought the only way for them to be happy is to eat trolls who are always happy, and didn't want to learn how to be happy, she just wanted to eat. But either way, most of the trolls are completely angry with the Bergens because they're not telling them exactly why Poppy went missing, and they're kind of being Hollywood about it. The townspeople are basically being hit with the, "Yeah, she'll be back pretty soon, just hold on for a sec." We're shown a file for Smidge, who's basically rallying up all of her comrades to form a rage group who basically are mad over the fact that Poppy is gone, and they're probably the ones that are doing the spray painting around the town. Guy Diamond is back again and doesn't look mentally stable, and he also is not able to see his son after they found him, and he kinda has a lot of resentment towards the whole foundation that is doing that. He's worried that he can't see his son, and while also hearing rumors that Chef is back, he doesn't want his son to get eaten. But little does he know is that Tiny Diamond is the reason why he can't see his son. He's not talking or answering any of the questions, so it seems like he's unstable. He's even gotten his hair cut because he doesn't even feel right. So out of the protection of everyone else, he's been isolated. Keith hasn't said anything, they can't get anything out of him, and he really barely ever says anything in the series. At least in the movies from what I know. And now it's revealed that Chef is in fact alive. She's a part of the disposal team, and it seems like she's kinda enjoying it. All her job is just to burn the infective, and clearly by what she's saying, it's not like they'll be missed. She's loving her job of burning trolls. She also seems to be doing something with the dead bodies, as it says she has a untapped market with them, which means that she's probably eating the remains. Now we learn what's been happening with the kids. Val and King Peppy have been taking the kids, most likely probably because they heard Chef was back in the Bergen. It's also revealed that Diamond actually got his kid back, but he's giving him away to keep him safe. And as they head back to Bergentown, they're walking through the woods and they're hearing some ringing bells. And that's when we see this horrifying monster with the wallet of Rachel's on the ground. And they look over, hearing mauling and crunching noises. And as they watch, they say, "Oh, Rachel, poor girl." And it looks up at them.
In the frost, it rests in peace with skin stolen from the children, like a beautiful dove in snow, quietly, alone, afraid, asleep. Where are the mothers, the owners who've manifested the children who now sleep in the snow? Why do you blame me? I'm scared of the feet I walk with, the teeth I grew in. I want to cry too.
Back at the prison cell where Veneer is staying at, Vel is looking through the bars, infected. And as she looks at him, she begins to break the bars easily. Veneer, who's distracted by drinking toilet water, starts to realize she's breaking in, and he gets completely scared. And she breaks all the bars on the cell, saying, "Vel, stop. I give up. I'm so sorry. All you wanted was to be seen, to be loved. And I took that away from you. Just do it already, Velvet! And she goes in for what it seems to be the kill. But in all real reality, it's a hug. And just like that, Veneer and infected Vel escape the abandoned prison, with his status being surprisingly changed to immune. Back at the Bergen castle, Bridget and Gristle are asleep one night. And Bridget wakes up and says, babe, Gristle, wake up. And fails to wake him up, but then she starts to monologue and think about everything that's going on. She starts to talk about how she doesn't feel like they're doing enough, but also they're on the good and bad side. How people are looking at them as the worst people ever, but also their saviors. She says as a brigand, she's used to people running away from her, and now she's getting used to people coming up to her and greeting her and loving her. And then she says, I hope Poppy's doing well, but I guess you're doing good right now, babe, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So, good night. But only if little Bridget knew that sleeping was the last thing on the king's mind. How can a king sleep when the infection has gotten to the sheep? I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe for the next parts so you don't miss out. I love you guys, and God bless you people. Peace.